Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcast. You can also go to YouTube.com/Rogue Matter and check us out there. We might be switching our stream over there too. We're gonna be experimenting over the next few months and see which venue is best for this podcast. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, the made for YouTube only master, Hassan Godwin.
I'm not even going to ask you what that's all about.
I don't know.
That came out of nowhere. I'm not even going to. That's fine. That will work. That will work for me. That's fine. That's better than Jackass. So, I'll take it.
Yeah. So
I've lowered my low expectations even another notch. So don't worry about it.
Isn't that what it's always about?
It's always about lowering your just to meet with the parameters of your surroundings. It's always about lowering your expectations.
Yeah, no.
Water seeks its own level, David. The water seeks its own level. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's the key. That's the key to success in anything.
Yes. So they keep telling me.
So we have an outstanding show tonight. We have the genius behind the Toys That Made Us, who's joining us for an interview, and it's
who's younger than me.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
He looks older than you, though. So it's kudos to you.
Yeah, I'd cut that out of the segment. You'll have to do some editing after we're done.
He won't listen to it. No, that's not saying he looks old. He says you look young.
Okay, I'll take it.
Right? That works. Yeah, we got Brian Volk-Weiss on. He's going to talk about working with Zac Efron. He's going to talk about his favorite toy lines. We're going to ask him some good questions, and I think there will be some cursing involved. I think we lifted our no cursing. There
may be a few swear words. My statement was to mean that he's accomplished quite a bit being younger than me. But I don't. You took it to a cosmetic level. That's fine. But all right. It's you're always making it weird. You're always making it really strange.
That's what I do best.
Yeah. All right. Well, don't be as good as it as you already are. Try to be worse at it.
We've got Zack Snyder. He returns as well. He's got a new Netflix movie.
Some may say a triumphant return.
Yeah.
Some might call
this is the year of the Snyder for sure. This is the year of the Snyderverse in whatever way, shape, or form.
That one way or another.
You want to think about it. You've got your rogue rage, which is a mystery to me. So I'm very excited to hear what your rogue rage is.
Yeah.
But we're going to start tonight with a new trailer dropped. First of all, by the way, trending today was Loki, because people want to remind everyone that in 2 weeks from now we have Loki, which is cool because we get to actually.
About Loki?
I am excited about Loki, and I'm also excited that it drops on Wednesdays, so we can watch it before we actually record our shows. And
only if you're up at 3 a.m.
No, it's like all day Wednesday. Oh yeah. No, it's all day Wednesday. So it would technically drop Tuesday at 3 a.m.
Yeah, but I'm accidentally betraying our record time. So cut that segment out also.
No, you're good though, because think about it. Like,
yeah, but if I haven't watched it, like, okay, we've broadcast at 8, but that doesn't necessarily mean we record at 8.
No, not all the time. No, of course we did Brian Volk-Weiss beforehand. We did, Gates McFadden before time. But no, yes. So technically, it's Wednesday 3 a.m. So it's before. So the time difference works out. So I mean
it's before. Something we'll do it. We'll be able to deal with it.
Yeah,
we'll work it out.
But I do want to start with a trailer that dropped instead from the Marvel Universe. It is our first look at the Eternals. And so Marvel dropped the first poster and dropped the first trailer on Monday. It definitely is going to be hitting the big screen, hopefully, which is what we hope for in November. But the trailer is from recent Oscar-winning director Chloe Zhao. It not only did a gorgeous sun-drenched first poster debut online, but the trailer arrived too. It is in her unique vision for the film, and that's very clear in the first footage released by Marvel Studios. The Eternals trailer shows the team arriving to humanity before guiding them with tools and weapons to help build humanity evolve. To help build immunity. I don't know if that sentence
I don't know.
sense.
But I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna bug you about it.
Yeah. Well, it's not me. This is coming from Heroic Hollywood. How it'll deal with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe remains to be seen, but it definitely takes place after Avengers Endgame. As Sprite asks, who might lead the team now that Captain Rogers and Iron Man are both gone? Interesting.
Kind of a messed up thing to do since you just established a whole brand new Captain America, but. Apparently the Eternals don't believe that Sam is a worthy successor to Captain America.
Well, they say Captain Rogers.
If I want to make a racial case out of it, I could. I can make this into a big deal. I can make it into a big deal already. Already, the Eternals have proved themselves a little biased. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying,
cultural bias.
A little bit from the Eternals. But yeah, it's fine. It was a cute segment. It was pretty cute. It's gonna be. Marvel's gonna have to be careful. The Marvel universe, of course, is rife with like enormous, monstrous titans, characters.
Yeah,
which is always cool because the world building and how big things are. That's always a cool thing. But it's all whenever you have Superman in your story, you're always like, well, where was Superman during Pearl Harbor, where was Superman during the, 9/11, now which always means there's going to have to be a caveat where who said super being has made a vow never to get involved, and then, it's always going to be about how they break, this is the story where they break their vow because they can't take it anymore. So it's a trope. It's fine. It works. I don't mind it at all. It's not something that needs to be fixed or go away. But it is kind of an old, it is an old trope. Like these. I mean, isn't that pretty much Jupiter's Legacy, where everyone was sitting around deciding, I think we need to be more involved, and I think we need to up the ante on our code of conduct, and some people are holding out. And other people are like, gung ho. Let's change this thing up and let's let's get involved more. That's pretty much probably what the Eternal seems like it's going to be about.
What's interesting is it was two things I thought when I was watching this trailer. One, I thought this is probably what's that? No,
I need a new TV.
No. One, this is what civilization probably was. We were probably influenced by aliens that came down. If you're an Ancient Aliens fan, that was their whole premise.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
So
you're getting into flat Earth territory there.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see that. Well, I mean, if you listen to the retired Israeli, not the prime minister. He was on the space program for Israel. He's like, I'm old now. I don't care. Aliens are real. And there's the whole thing. It's amazing. Aliens are big right now. Aliens are hot. I was actually in a meeting recently. I was in a meeting recently.
No, and you're not going to tell me
aliens are so hot right now. It's Hansel. He's so hot.
We live in a dark world, man. We live in a real there's just a corporate sludge.
It was funny.
The world that we live in.
It was pretty cool, actually. We all actually giggled after it was said, and we.
Because what else could you do?
It was a very meta conversation to have, but yes, aliens are hot right now. So there was kind of there's some theorized truth to that, which is interesting. But what it also means outside of the Ancient Aliens dialect is that they've been influencing the Marvel history throughout. And so why now? Yeah. Why are they coming now? Obviously remains to be seen when we get into the film. The other thing was just the stark visuals of it reminded me, not in a direct comparison way, but it had kind of whimsical, fantastical glory that I felt watching Lord of the Rings. Again, it's a feeling, not a direct comparison. There's nothing in this trailer that I could directly compare to Lord of the Rings, aside from the feeling I got from watching certain things that I saw in Lord of the Rings. Now, it's not Marvel's version of Lord of the Rings. Again, it was merely just a feeling, especially when Orlando Bloom's character, we get to actually find, go into the Elven woods and I'm all the names are going to escape me as to who the characters were, but when you actually get to go see like, his people in that like fantastical realm that, that they existed in,
the woodland realm.
That's what I kind of got when I watched this. I felt in that kind of.
You were going to go into the deeper inner sanctum of the, of great powers that have yet to be discovered within the Marvel universe kind of situation.
Exactly. Wow, look at you. You enunciated it perfectly for me. I love it.
That's kind of what I do. That's
exactly what I was feeling.
All right. Well, you did text me and tell me to say that. So
if I texted you to say that, then I would have just said it. No, I mean you got it. You nailed it. Like that's.
I'm trying to help you, man. You're just denying the help.
No, I'm giving it. Look, I'm
walking away from the help.
I have no ego. I am a guy that can literally I'll just pong that. I'll pong credit.
That's not true. All right. Okay. So that's the level of lie we're gonna do for this show. I guess
it's not a lie. It's not a lie.
All right. Fair enough.
You pushed me across the finish line there, and
I totally agree with you.
I appreciate it.
I did. I want to raise. I want to raise. I want more money.
Did the visuals do anything for you? Was it anything that moved you, even in a way that might have felt familiar, but in a good way?
It looked good. I mean, it looked really good. They always look good, though. The only thing that's kind of weird is it's a side tangent.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's kind of strange is the one trailer I've seen recently that didn't look like super visually amazing.
Yeah,
was Dune, and I think that's because they're hiding the visuals from Dune. Because I know that Denis Villeneuve is he's an amazing director. I've loved everything that he's done, so I know he's very visual director. So I think the imagery from Dune is plain on purpose, which but that's also me giving it the benefit of the doubt. So like everything, even the trailer for Army of the Dead looked pretty amazing. Like that second one, the one with the gambler,
sure,
made that reignited everyone's excitement for it. So trailers, I never really go by visuals. The visuals for the Eternals look really good.
Yeah,
it looks interesting. I'm happy to see Kit Harington, is working now after he got sent back to the wall. I like the actors they have involved there. They've got Jon Snow and Rob Stark back together.
Right.
They've got I forget what the actress's name is, the woman from Humans, which was a really great and pretty underappreciated story about robot, about like replicants, human robots that I think was superior to Westworld, but don't tell anybody I said that. You got big heavyweights that are in this film,
Gemma Chan, Selma Hayek.
Yeah, I mean, there's amazing people in it, so I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna elevate
Nanjiani from one of my favorite shows, Silicon Valley. He was amazing in that show. A hidden gem who seems to steal every movie he's in is Brian Tyree Henry. He was in Godzilla vs. Kong. He's in Atlanta, the show Atlanta. He as Paperboy, he's fantastic. It's amazing. He actually has incredible range too. So it'll be interesting to see, what it is. And then we have Angelina Jolie. I mean, that's you don't get much bigger than that, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's going to be on the level of having Cate Blanchett in a Thor movie. And she dominated that movie. And she made a really ridiculous character. Like some character comes out of hell after like 1,500 years and just monologues and breaks hammers and stuff like that. But it just works. Like you just accept it because it's Cate Blanchett doing the dialogue. So it's kind of like when Christopher Lee was in Attack of the Clones. And you're like, oh, that's what acting is, because everybody else is just like, and Christopher Lee is just having fun with that stiff dialogue, and he's making it work where everybody else is struggling with it.
Ewan McGregor was pretty good with that too. He was always.
That's why the scene between Ewan McGregor and Christopher Lee is probably the best scene in the first two prequel movies.
Yes.
So yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing. I think that's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna probably be, we're gonna get into prediction territory. I know you're going there, so I'm gonna
I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to get prediction territory.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I don't believe
I have two
Dolce.
questions for you. Out of this and Shang-Chi, which trailer resonated more to you?
I don't know. I think.
I know you get excited, but what moved you more?
Look, I'm going to be honest. The trailer that got me the most was the Phase 4 trailer. That overall trailer. That's an amazing. Huh? It's not cheating. It's
not cheating on your part. I mean, that's almost like that's just cheating on Marvel's
That's
part.
what I'm saying. It's doing exactly what the trailers are supposed to do. It's supposed to get you excited for it, and you realize that these movies you've had. I remember people getting chills because after Dark Knight Rises came out, Christopher Nolan or the Nolan Company, I'm sure it wasn't Nolan himself, but his people put together a trailer for the trilogy, for the Dark Knight trilogy, which is odd to call it because the first movie didn't have Dark Knight in the title, but who cares? Like, that's just me being a jerk. But and that trailer was a solid, even for a person who has dubious regard for some of those movies. That trailer was pretty intense. Like, it was really a wonderful trailer. So this overall trailer showing you whole bunches of highlights, key segments from the first three phases, and now is cheating or teasing Phase 4. That made me excited. Yeah. So I'm excited for both Shang-Chi and the Eternals. Just to hopefully that they could rekindle the magic that was the MCU. In the first three phases, and then just take us into another place. I do think of the two, and there's no other bias to it. I think that the Eternals has the potential Guardians of the Galaxy breakout vibe to it. I kind of feel the same way. I feel like it has the gravitas to it, whereas Shang-Chi is going to be a deliciously solid, fun movie. It's gonna, and this is just based on the trailer, right? We have nothing else to go by. You're gonna walk out. You're gonna walk out having straightforward. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna walk out having like, man, that was a really awesome experience. But you're gonna walk out of Eternals, I feel like, with the questions, with the speculation as to how it connects with everything else. Now, Shang-Chi could provide that if they go deeper into the Mandarin and his origins. And maybe how that kind of directly ties into like Iron Man 3 and things like that. But I feel like Eternals is going to touch all the points in the MCU. So and that's really does. It will have to have Guy Pearce in it and explain why Guy Pearce claimed that he was the Mandarin. It could be a comment. It could be. It doesn't have to be him specifically. I know it does. I know it doesn't have to be a big deal, and I know, but I'm telling you what I needed to do. Yeah. It's not really what the film needs to do. It's what Hassan needs.
To do.
Yes, exactly.
You can't go wrong with that. What did you guys think?
Usually.
Did you watch the trailer? Are you excited? Are you as excited for this film as you are Shang-Chi? Are you excited for neither? Are you excited for both? I mean, I don't know. Which one do you think is going to be the bigger breakout hit of the two? Comment in the Facebook feed for now, and
do as we tell you.
And let us know. We will answer your questions. When we come back, Zack Snyder is back again with another movie. This is the year of Snyder. This is the Snyderverse, and we're just all living in it.
The when we come back, Snyderverse.
We are going to react to Army of the Dead. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. All right. So Zack Snyder comes out with a new movie. I didn't even realize you had mentioned this to me offline that it actually came out in theaters first. I didn't even realize that there was a theatrical window for it.
Yeah, the previous Friday.
Okay.
A week before it came out on Netflix. But we are the slack asses. So we only understand the stuff that's piped right into our living room. Wow. We don't understand what's going on outside.
I will sit there and tell you, and I said this last week, Black Widow will be the first film that I go see in a theater again. Like, I already know it.
And I can't even make that promise.
No, yeah. I mean, barring anything unforeseen, like I slip and break an ankle, or the aliens actually do come down. That will be the first movie I see.
Because according to the Israeli guy, there are aliens.
Oh yes.
So
Galactic Federation. There's a whole thing.
Okay. Fair enough.
He's like, I'm old.
I'm all for it. I'm all for either the Empire or the Federation. It's either going to be one of those two things, right? Yeah. So let's do this.
Yeah.
If there's an Empire, that means they're Jedis. If there's the Federation, that means we're probably okay. We're probably the dominant culture in the entire galaxy. So we're still all right.
We have Twitter. We can't be.
That's probably why the Federation
aliens are like. But according to the Israeli, not to sidebar too much, but the Israeli prime minister I keep calling him the prime minister, the Israeli space, like the head of the space programming, whatever, a former head. He basically was like, the aliens are like, we're not ready yet. The aliens have to deem that we're not ready yet.
That's what I was going to say. Twitter is probably why the Federation doesn't talk to us.
Aliens are like, the Alien Federation's like, we're ready for.
Not these guys.
You invented
social
media.
We're not ready for these guys yet.
Nope.
That ain't happening.
Pass. So I don't even know what I was talking about. Army of the Dead hits Netflix. And I watched Dawn of the Dead. I watched Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was a pretty cool movie when it came out.
I did too.
There's an unfortunate aspect to this movie coming out in 2021 of post-COVID, which is not fun. It's like the last thing I wanted to see. Like, I went golfing on Monday for a charity event, and everyone was just so overjoyed to be in person because we hadn't been in person in God knows how long. We're all vaccinated. We're all hanging out, and I'm seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. And so to watch Las Vegas, which is a place that I love and adore, and I can't wait to get back to, destroyed in front of my face again. I'm kind of like, and then him checking temperatures there. I'm like, dude, just too soon for all this. Like,
boy,
it's like the last thing I want to see is a disaster movie, destroying a place I can't wait to get back to at some point. And people checking temperatures. Like, I just didn't want to see it. But
Vegas just does not look, I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd have to be there to have been there and to enjoy it.
Have you ever been?
I was there once, but it was it wasn't like we're here, we're gonna go everywhere and explore it and like get in and live in the moment of it. Yeah. It was just like, oh, so this is Las Vegas. Okay, what's next? So
there's a different Vegas.
I know it's hot AF there, and
yes.
And I'm not into the gambling. Heat is heat, dude. Yeah. You're not gonna convince me that I would rather no heat. You can have the dry heat. I would rather no heat. I know humid is worse than dry heat. I understand it. I know the degrees of terrible, but that is dry heat is just a lesser degree of terrible. That's just what it is.
Let's take a sidebar here. What's a Hassan idea of a good time traveling to a new place?
Oh, first of all, Hassan's idea of a good time traveling to a new place is to use your hand to open up a rift in time space and step through it, and then suddenly be at that other place.
You're there already. Forget the actual plane ride or anything.
Well, you said traveling. I mean, I don't like.
I meant like on vacation. Like, what's like if you're.
I don't know. I get really weird when I've traveled somewhere because I get overwhelmed with the success of, hey, I'm here. I did it. Right. And I'm in someplace else. And then what happens is, what would make this moment perfect? Returning home and reflecting on how great that moment was that I went out and I made it.
So you say you're not much of a gambler.
No.
You don't like people in crowds.
That's not necessarily true. I think people are great. I think they're important. I just want to be far away from them. I want to observe them from afar.
Gotcha.
I think they're fascinating specimens.
The heat is out, so Vegas is not.
Heat is terrible. Heat is a terrible place.
What about swimming pool? No,
swimming pools are great. All
right, they got great pools. A lot of great scenery. Get some beers.
But then again, there's that other people aspect. You're not going to get a pool to yourself in Vegas.
No, you'll get your own chair. You could rent a cabana. It's very.
I don't want a chair. Whatever. If if I'm by a pool, I want to be in the pool. What
You get
if you're sitting in a chair, you're in the heat.
Yeah, you get drinks right in the pool. No, the pools are pretty big and they're pretty good. And what about like because like they go through it in the movie. They go through the movie.
Heat don't go well.
No, but they go through in the movie. They really destroy like landmark. Like, are you at like a sightseer? Do you want to like see the spectacle that each hotel?
Yeah, I mean,
like
most of those hotels are like, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Because there's a different Vegas every time you go. I could literally do an entire show about how much I love Las Vegas and how many times I've gone and it's been a different experience every single time.
You're against destroying Vegas if it's infested with zombies?
Well, I just wish it never got invested. I'm just saying, all I saw was two painful things where I'm like reminding me of coronavirus and destroying my favorite place on the planet.
Isn't the zombie infestation kind of ruining the whole experience?
No. It wasn't just it was everything. It was everything. I was like, come on, I haven't even been back there yet since COVID. I'm like, don't show it to me being destroyed. All right. Well, Army of the Dead takes place in Vegas. Aside from the opening, which I thought was kind of ridiculous because those lights were shining in that guy's face. This is a spoilers, by the way. It's the beginning of the movie, though. It's all we've kind of really touched upon at this point.
We didn't touch on any of it. We just touched on how much we hated seeing Vegas get destroyed.
I'm saying that happens in the movie. See, so we did reveal if you haven't seen the movie,
and it does have that slow opening montage, that slow motion montage from Zack Snyder. It's made him very famous in the or infamous in the Hollywood arena. Which I think this was another really great montage of.
Oh yeah.
Absolute destruction and terribleness.
Yes.
But he's living in his own legend now, Zack Snyder. He's not trying to be he's not trying to break any cinematic ground. He's just reveling in the Snyder-esque-ness of all of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially that's exactly what he's doing, and that's all he's doing.
Right.
It was a love letter to his fans. It was an FU to anybody who doesn't at this point. Part of me kind of respects that.
I respect the heck out of it. I'm all right. I'm all for it.
And you know what? In this day and age, too, of Kickstarters and the sales funnel of social media in terms of like building an audience and building your followers, and anybody who's an entrepreneur is going through this process, or anybody who owns a company or owns a business or runs a business or wants to start a business. The number one thing that you're being taught in the last 5 years is how to build your audience. That's like the biggest thing, right? And we used to talk about it too in the comic book world. I mean, the magic number was 10 grand, right? If you had 10,000 people that would buy your comic, you could literally just do whatever you want and they'll buy your comic. So that it's not a new concept, but it's been but it's been emphatically shouted on social media to the point where it's almost nauseating. But to borrow from the concept, Zack Snyder has built his audience, right? There is nothing about he has actually crossed that magic plane of I will, not me personally, but someone out there would say I will watch anything he puts out. And he's controversial enough that folks like us will talk about him, even just to the degree, and it's all thanks to Justice League, right? If Justice League doesn't happen, I don't think he's in this. I think he's a has-been director almost. I think he's like directing Benji or something, like he's not.
Well, I don't know about that because he would have this coming out, and he would have this kind of return to form or return to his original form, even if it isn't a return to form,
right?
It's heavily implied return to form. Everybody likes the three things, right?
Yeah.
They like the young upstart genius. They love the fall of the young upstart genius, and they love the comeback of the young upstart genius, or the slightly less young upstart genius. Excuse me.
Right.
In proper English. So he's on his renaissance now.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves has had 3 of these. And people.
You think so?
Yeah, because he had the Bill and Ted, whatever. That's a young upstart genius.
Okay.
And then he had, then he kind of he fell down. People, he can't act, he can't do anything. He's just stiff as a board.
Oh, that's a good point. But he was still, he was still working though, because Bram Stoker's. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. He was stiff. And I think Bram Stoker was one of the steps down for him because that's when him next to Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman and some of these other guys, like, oh man, this kid can't act. Then came the Matrix. No.
You're missing Speed. Speed was 1994. That is one of his. That is one.
the Speed's one movie. He did really well in that one movie, but he didn't turn it into a franchise. He didn't overstay. He didn't overdo it because he wasn't even in Speed 2.
Yeah, he didn't want. Well, but that was his own choice. He didn't want to be in Speed 2.
But it doesn't. But I'm saying it's like it's a nod to, okay, this guy could be something, and then he vanished again. But I mean, he came and stayed for the Matrix, right?
Oh yeah.
And then the Matrix also showed, wait a minute, Keanu Reeves is doing karate.
Yeah,
and we're buying it. We're buying it. Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne for some reason are doing. Okay, so that's his first comeback, and then he fell off again. He had 37 Ronin and some other kind of weird movies, and then boom, John Wick.
Amazing.
That's his second comeback.
This is everybody loves that. It's a show. Sidebars. Look at
Travolta.
You're right.
Travolta was Saturday Night Fever, top of the world. Then he was Look Who's Talking guy.
Right.
3 different Look Who's Talking movies.
Then Pulp Fiction.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then
that led to Face Off. That led to Face Off, and that led to him being in everywhere. Yeah.
He was everywhere. So
that's got to be some of the best things, right? Like, what are your biggest, the biggest fall from grace to return kind of things? But yes, Zack Snyder's definitely going through it.
I think so. I think he is.
Quick Keanu Reeves sidebar. We'll have to do this on a Spin the Racks maybe next week. Berserker comic, pretty good actually.
Oh, you think so? You've read it? I haven't read it.
I read the first issue. I sent them over to you, so if you got to take a look.
I haven't. I got to look.
Yeah, read it. It's actually, I'm like, damn, this is pretty good. We'll do a Spin the Racks on it next week.
Okay.
But yeah, this is Zack Snyder.
Now that I know, I'll be ready for.
There you go. See. I'm like, are we talking about this next week? I don't know.
You'll do that to me next week.
Yeah, full disclosure to the audience, I totally forgot we were covering Army of the Dead.
After I've read the whole thing and I'll have written a Bible dissertation on how great it is, and I'm ready to go, Mike. And you're like, go where? What are we doing?
Let's not kid ourselves about the amount of effort you put into this show. It's not that substantial.
That hurts. That hurts me. That's a deep wound.
The truth really does hurt, doesn't it? So the movie itself, for me, like I said, it's not usually in my bubble. I'm not like a huge horror guy. I'm not a huge zombies too. That was the other point I was going to make. So not only is it a post-COVID story where it's too soon for me to really enjoy the post-COVID-ness of things that I would have enjoyed normally, which would have been the destruction of Las Vegas. It's also zombies, and zombies are kind of like dead. So what I was really thrilled with, God, how does it feel being partnered up with a genius who doesn't even know how good he is?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know yet.
UFOs are so hot right now. Zombies are dead. I'm over zombies because of Walking Dead. Like, I'm at this point, I'm like, I've seen enough zombie movies, and I've seen the smart zombies, the fast zombies in World War Z, and even the Dawn of the Dead ones are not scary to me anymore. I mean, they're scary, but it's like, whatever. They're just generic horror. But what I love what he did in this movie, though, is that it's not really a zombie movie. It's just a heist movie set in a zombie apocalypse.
True.
And that's true. Once we got into that, once you get through kind of it felt almost like a throwback to we mentioned like a Face Off, or some, in that vein of just a ragtag group of people have to get together to do something where you sit there going like, I would never do that in a million years. Like, you could pay me $2 million. Why am I going in? No, you guys are dumb. You're going to die. It actually also reminded me of Predator in a weird way, where it had the camaraderie between everybody. And it was, kind of this diverse cast of people from different backgrounds. And, so it was a ride once you get through the initial like hump of it.
Yeah, I gotta admit, like, sometimes that's all it is, Sometimes it's okay that that's all it is. It's just a ride, It's just like, I saw the trailer, I kind of knew exactly what kind of movie it was going to be, and I'm like, my attitude was, I'm in for the ride, I don't expect it to be anything other than what it is, and I'm just in for some really great stunts and some a couple of chills, whatever, and hopefully some. If not great, then some real interesting characters along the way. And I'm a Dave Bautista fan. I don't mind him. Yeah. I like him. It'll work for me. Dave Bautista killing zombies. That's kind of a no-brainer. Like, I'm in for that. So, I mean, there were certain things about the movie I didn't think was great. And that's not really because of the production or the characters or actors. It's just a couple of story beats that they took that kind of make me. And I'm not really going to go into it because I know we're doing spoilers, but I don't want to spoil that. At that level, I don't want to start doing spoilers at that level. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again, which is really strange. Then again, there is some stuff. I don't know what we expect in life. There's certain tropes that are necessary that kind of enhance the experience, and then there's certain things that are like, come on, guys, this guy's gonna betray you, right? We know this, right? Are we really shocked? Is no one watching this guy? Is no one paying attention to this guy?
I know.
That's
and they're believing him constantly too. And, it's one of those things.
And then, come on. And then also,
spoiler: he gets his comeuppance.
Yes, he does. Very much so. Just like anybody in an ocean of carnivorous flesh-eating zombies, you're probably gonna get
what I will say though is I enjoyed the fact that and I usually do enjoy it. There was a lot of unexpected deaths at unexpected moments.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I kind of actually appreciated. I also just kind of laughed by the end of it in terms of the death count and then, who actually made it out and who didn't. And I'm kind of like, dang.
The problem is with some of these stories is some things are just tropes because they are tropes and they're not why are you betraying people in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? I get that people are people and that people are going to be despicable and that's just usually going to be the way life is. But what's your end game when you're betraying an entire group? The only group of people that you're with, the group that has guns and weapons.
Yeah.
What's the end game when you betray those people? I don't understand what people. Yeah. It's like the Burke from Alien. Okay, dude, but you're still stuck you're still gonna have to fly the ship off the planet. Maybe don't betray them. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that someone completely self-serving would do. I know it makes sense on paper.
Right.
But ultimately someone who's genuinely primarily self-serving would be like, I got a better chance of surviving this with all these other idiots alive.
Yes.
Than I do away from these people. So it just, to me, that never made any sense, but it is a trope and it's fine. It's fine with me.
My only question, and to wrap this segment up though, is to say, where does he go from here? Where does Zack Snyder actually go from here? Because this is a return to form in a sense, because this is kind of like a return to the movie, not the movie that necessarily made him, but the movie that started him, that put him on the map.
It's not a franchise movie. It's a movie out of his, it's going to be. That's the answer to your question. He's going to, where it's going to go from here is going to make 10 more zombie movies.
And I got to tell you, I think that's not a mistake for him personally, but I got to be honest, I can't possibly be that
have a zombie shared universe. And then Rick Grimes,
because that's exactly what he's kind of hinting at the end. The end of this movie, without getting too deep, is one of those end credit scenes where you're like, oh man, this whole movie was just a setup to watch the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't.
Well, that's the way movies are now. That's the business model for movies, unfortunately. Just like for comic books, right? Remember like a decade ago, comic books suddenly became a press junket, for a potential movie. The concept art or a test of concept, a proof of concept for various franchises that could be made into movies. And suddenly it was like it was like a boom town. The comic book industry was a boom town. Everybody coming in for fool's gold. People wanting to set up a comic. People wanted to, establish the one comic. They kickstart one comic book and try to use it to launch a film franchise. That's basically where we are now in movies in and of itself. Every movie is a potential universe movie. Like we're gonna do. This is going to be a launching pad for several hundred kinds of ancillary product that is that will be associated in some way.
I kind of just wish he would. I really wish it was just a one and done. I really do. but it's
well,
not.
It might be depending on how depending on this new model of format, what the success rate is. You know,
we talked about it with Keanu Reeves, right? Like he didn't even want to be part of the Speed franchise because back then being part of a franchise was really seen as like it's not the thing not the thing to do. That is completely the opposite now, both executive wise, both star wise.
It seems like that's all there is.
I know.
You know, regardless of whether or not anybody wants to do it, that's pretty much all there is. You either establish a franchise so that could keep you eating for the next 10 years, or you spend the next 10 years trying to establish a franchise. That's pretty much all there is.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think. Did you appreciate?
Or don't. We don't care what you think.
Well, you can. We will always answer.
You care. You care what they think. I don't care what they think.
We will always go through and give us your thoughts on the movie. Give us your thoughts on the state of Zack Snyder. Give us your thoughts on where he should go from here. When we come back, though, we've got a true genius, Brian Volk-Weiss, creator of The Toys That Made Us, and a host of other wonderful shows that have been on streaming, including the Zac Efron show that was a big success last year as well, too. He's got a new podcast network to talk about, and he's coming on to talk to us all about it when we get back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. Thrilled to welcome as much a rogue as you can possibly get in Brian Volk-Weiss, who is the founder of Nacelle Company. He's the brains behind The Toys That Made Us, and now he is the head of a brand new podcast network. Brian, how you doing, sir?
I am good. Thank you for having me on.
Well, we always love this. We're all about backdrops here, and you've got the killer backdrop. I mean, this is. Oh, yeah. This is
well, I want to know what Hassan's gonna have when this thing's gone through post. Like,
yeah, I'm just gonna take a photo of your backdrop and just recreate it.
That would be hysterical. I'll get out of the way if you want to get a screenshot. That would be so funny. But yeah, this used to be my collection room, and for the last 15, 16 months, it's been my office.
How has
worst places to be?
That's a great lead in too, though, right? I mean, like, how has the pandemic? Has it been? Everyone's okay. I'm assuming. I hope on your side.
We knock on wood because it's not completely over yet, unless you're in Florida, which I just got back from. But we didn't have a single person that I'm aware of get it, and nobody ended up in the hospital or passed away. So we were not affected in a health way at all.
That's great. No, that's great to hear. How has the pandemic altered your guys' plans, or has it, at Nacelle Company?
It's really interesting. By the grace of God, we had no shows canceled or postponed or anything. All the shows that were supposed to come out last year came out. All the shows that are supposed to come out this year are on schedule to come out. So we didn't get affected in that way negatively.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that's interesting to me, and I think a little cool, is to keep shooting and producing.
Yeah.
We had to build a lot of infrastructure and a knowledge base to keep working. I would say 70% of which is now a permanent part of our company's operations.
Wow.
That had it not been, and I'll give you an example, but had it not been for COVID, we never would have done in a billion years. So, like, for example, next week, we have a shoot in Kansas and a shoot in London. We have a permanent camera kit, a remote camera kit that, I mean, if you look at the holiday movies that made us, that came out in December, that was shot 98% with our remote kits. Okay. I challenge you to tell me it looks different than anything else we've ever done. So We have remote kits now permanently in New York, permanently in Chicago, and permanently in London. So going to Kansas City, would have cost us $8,000 to $12,000 before COVID. Now we can do it for $2,000.
Wow.
Ditto London, if not more of a savings, despite no quality reduction. So that, and I could do this for an hour, tell you shit like, can I curse?
You may.
All right. So lots of stuff like that. By the way, I have a lot of my college, not a lot, but I would say 15, as of this second, 15% of my colleagues are leaving LA.
Yeah.
Of that group, probably 20% are leaving California. So the other thing I noticed during COVID, the theory before COVID was people working from home are going to fuck around all day and like not do their work. That is, I was constantly sending emails constantly to the company saying, you should not be emailing anybody at 10 p.m. You should not be emailing anybody over the weekend. And if you are, that's overtime for most of you. So it was the opposite of what I think everybody thought would happen. If you work, Zoom is, I think, 7 years old. It wasn't invented in 2020.
Right.
So, yeah.
But you adjusted. That's good. Before we get into the podcast area, because I'm really curious about diving into that, we had Gates McFadden on last week, actually, too. So we had, her Pumping Investigates. Talk to us about working with Zac Efron, because you had the new show with him that debut, which was Down to Earth, and we hadn't had a chance to talk to you about that. Talk to us about how that kind of came about and what it was like working with him.
So I'll start with the ending. We just wrapped season 2 in Australia, so there's no better way to know how a show did. It's the only question worth asking. Are you making more or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll give my buddy credit. Bill Zotti, New Jersey native. He's one of my best friends post college. And he was an agent at CAA. He's not there anymore. He's at UTA now. Go Bruce Springsteen. I've seen Bruce Springsteen 6 times. I'm not even that big of a fan. 5 of them I was Bill's +1. So that's all you got to know about Bill Zotti.
Okay.
I'd probably be a bigger fan, but Mr. Springsteen doesn't seem to like. I know I'm the only person alive not with the punched Bruce Springsteen card, but. He tends to not sing his famous songs and also do 3 to 5 hour concerts, which I find a little odd, but what do I know?
I was going to say that's a commitment, because if you're not really into him and you go to more than one of his concerts, you're into him by default, basically, because of how much music you've had to digest.
Yeah, unless your friend guilt trips you for a week because he can't get anyone else to go with him. I saw Prince 4 times. 80% of every show was the classics.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe 75%. But that's how you do it. But anyway, I'm rambling. So anytime I was at CAA, I would fuck with Bill. If he wasn't in his office, I would steal his mouse pad. I'd move his shit around. We had that kind of friendship. And one day I go in, because those people are always in meetings. One day, so he's usually never in his office. I go in and there was a guy who, since that day, on average, I probably talked to 5 to 10 times a week for the last 5 years. There's a guy in there named Michael Simpkin. And Michael Simpkin was Zach's producing partner.
Yeah.
And Bill was like, oh my God, Brian produces reality. You want to do a food show. You'll get along. Go get lunch. So that's how it started. It's
a lot of pressure on you, right?
Well, not really. I'd be the worst producer on earth if I couldn't sell a show with Zac Efron. By the way, it was almost impossible to sell because food shows traditionally don't do well.
Yeah.
So we did a pilot for MTV that they're probably not thrilled. They didn't greenlight to series, but they didn't. We, by the grace of God, through stand-up comedy, already had a great relationship with Netflix. Guy there named I'll leave his name out. His name's Devin. I'll just give the first name. Devin greenlit the show. I had met him on the stand-up side. Same guy who greenlit Toys That Made Us, by the way.
Okay.
Who owes me a phone call, Devin, if by any chance you're not listening. Or you are listening. But he's not at Netflix anymore. He's got a very big job somewhere else. But and he bought the show. We did it. It seemed to do well. And whenever I get asked about Zac, I usually have a different way of, like, anyone else. Like, you ask me about Dwayne Johnson, I'll tell you who he is and what it's like to work with him. Zac, I kind of do the opposite, because everybody has these thoughts about him. And I know that's what people are really asking me. So he's very smart. He's not stupid at all. Yeah. He's extremely nice and kind, bonkers professional. Yeah. He, by the way, this is, I guess, a callback to the beginning of this interview, but we were in Japan once, and he may have been 3 minutes late. It might have been 2 minutes late. Literally, like around lunchtime, like I think he was supposed to be in the lobby at 7 a.m. and he was in the lobby at like 7:02 or 7:03 a.m. Like at lunchtime, at noon or 1 o'clock, I'm like, hey man, please stop apologizing. It's like actually getting weird. So he's wonderful to work with.
Wow.
And I don't know what I always love saying about Zac whenever I get asked is like, I don't know if people, even though I know it's made $1 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know if people either didn't see World's Greatest Showman, or if for some reason, whenever Zac's on camera, their brain just turns off. So like everybody else gets lots of credit.
Yeah.
Zac is mesmerizing in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's got two of the best songs. I would argue one of the hardest routines in the entire movie, the scene in the bar with him and Hugh Jackman, like, not to mention twirling up and down. Like, yeah. So he's wonderful. I mean, absolutely. We are so fortunate right now. We are not working with any assholes.
That's good.
And I've worked with a few. So, yeah.
You know they exist.
You know, if Hassan could fix that problem, he'd be happy too. Like he.
No comment.
in a room full of two, Hassan's like, I got to be stuck with this guy. Talk to us. So now you launched a podcast network. Like I mentioned, we had Gates McFadden on last week. She was delightful. By the way, she owes Hassan. I don't know how we're going to have this happen, but she promised to have Hassan teach her to play bass, because Hassan is the best bass player on the planet. We're going to work through you. We're going to make this happen somehow.
Let me start here. If Gates said that, she meant it. I only met her, I mean, barely 2 years ago. We're doing the show for History Channel called The Center Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek. She's an EP and she's doing the voiceover. We did a deal with her. She doesn't even really know this. I've never talked to her about it. It's always funny in life when you do that, where you're like, let me tell the world something I didn't tell the fucking person I'm talking about. But we did a deal with her that could not have been. Your green screen's off.
Yes, I noticed that.
That's 2021's Your Flies.
That's my real life behind.
But by the way, this is all green screen. I'm literally in a meat locker. But we did a deal with her that was like 3/4 of a page. It was the most. She didn't have to do anything. All she had to do was basically put her name on it, cash the check. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
To say, by the way, same thing's true for the podcast. I mean, to say she went above and beyond, I know this sounds so cliche. There were times where I'm like, Gates, like, please, like, you're going to have a stroke or something. Like, please, like, it's cool. We're good. You don't have to do 800 hours of editing. Like, just do 4, like, shit like that. So why, wait, what was the question? The question was, what was the question?
She's going to teach Hassan to play bass.
Yes.
No, Hassan's going to teach her how to play bass.
she's going to teach him or he's going
No,
to
it's going to be the other way around. Her bucket list item is
have her teach me though. I'm sure she knows more than I.
No, we did. She was wonderful. Like she really was. We just joked about it too because we're like, I don't know how it's going to happen now, and we're like, I don't know how we're going to get her on the phone. Like, we're talking to Brian next week.
Tell you or something. Like, if I had to guess, like I work with some of the, again, I hope I'm not. I always worry, like, am I being an asshole? But like, you can just look online. Like, I work with some of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah,
Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, like you name it. Like, they're great people. I love their movies. I wasn't sitting there when I was 8 years old or 15 years old watching Kevin or Dwayne.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who they were, including me.
Right.
I've been looking up to Gates McFadden on a screen for 35 or more years of my 45 years on this planet. I text with her. Yeah. Like, I saw a really funny Star Trek meme. I sent that to her.
It's surreal.
Like, one of the names I've already mentioned, like, I've been to his house for the Super Bowl. Never gave me chills, never felt weird. Like, it was just, I know the guy, I went to the party, who cares? I don't even like sports. Texting with Gates McFadden, like, it's so, to use a word the kids use, meta. Okay. Like, it's so meta.
That's awesome. Well, she's headlining the first release of the new podcast network. What else can you tell us about the network itself?
So it's called Nacelcast Studios. Our unofficial slogan, which I've never said publicly before, is anything but dark. Like, we don't do murder, we don't do crime, we don't do anything like that. Yeah. Everything else is fair game. We really focus, we own Comedy Dynamics. So we're doing a bunch of stand-up stuff comedy-wise as well. Yeah. But it's primarily pop culture, and I'm a history buff, so like we're doing a history thing. So it's just, we really are kind of doing whatever we want. Like, we know Marty Abrams, we're doing something with Marty Abrams. That's great. Like, we know a guy that works at a big toy company, we're doing something with him. So that's it. We just don't do dark. That's it. That's really our only rule.
Dark is overrated.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, you know what? We've had enough dark over the past year, haven't we?
Yeah.
I've done one show in my career that was a darker show, and I'm proud of it. But the problem is, when you're working on a show like that, even if I'm not directing, even if I'm just producing, like, I'm in it. It fucks with your head. Yeah. Like, you'll sit there in a bed for 12 hours. And like, I caught myself driving home once doing something I may not have done this ever again after I realized it. I drove home without any music. And that's when it was like, someone else can I'll watch it. Like, I was watching the Woody Allen thing. I'm like, I'm glad this was made. Yeah. I'd rather kill myself than
than be involved in that. Yeah.
God bless them. God bless them, because it fucks with them too. Like, I'm not the only one. Like, it would fuck with anybody. So that's our pocket. Nacelcast. The second C is capitalized in homage to RoboCop C, but it's mostly pop culture, but it's anything that's not dark.
I walked around talking about the QAnon documentary on HBO for like weeks after, because I was just baffled. The QAnon. Have you seen the QAnon documentary?
Actually, no. I am hoping to watch that over Memorial Day.
It's worth it, because they spend a lot of time around the guys who built the website that Q supposedly posts on, and you kind of sit there wondering, like, how is this all relevant to everything? But then it delivered by the last episode, especially, and it's one of those things where it's like, I got to stop watching documentaries. For the podcast network, are you guys going to be getting into scripted?
I'm sure we are. Yeah. We have anything planned right now? We're planning stuff for 2023. Yeah. So when I tell you nothing's planned, take it within that context. Sure. But not at the moment. But if there's anything I've learned about the company and myself, if it can be done and it should be done, we will do it.
Okay. No, that's great. So, it's funny. You made your name with the toys that made us, at least publicly, in terms of, how the public perceives you. And we've had you on a couple times when the show was at a different home, and we're at Rogue Matter now, which is fantastic. But we never actually asked you favorite toys. I don't think we've ever actually asked you. So I'm going to give you.
Ask. I think we can see.
Well, no. I'm going to give you a line. I'm going to give you a specific line. You're going to tell me your favorite toy within that line. So if
no one has ever asked me this question like that, brilliant.
There we go. I don't know if he's being sarcastic, but
I am not.
Good.
No, the question is always, what's your favorite toy?
No. I want to know your favorite toy within each of my favorite pop culture 80s things.
This is great.
All right. Star Wars.
Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I had the Ewok Village as a kid, but I always wanted the Millennium Falcon, but we couldn't get it. It was too tough.
You couldn't get the Falcon? Okay, never mind.
I don't know. I was 7. Like whatever. My parents told me we couldn't get it. That's all right.
I blew through 3 of them. That's how mean
we couldn't. I don't know. Toys. Maybe my parents didn't know how to get it. Maybe it's more of an indictment on my parents as Santa Claus than anything else. Star Trek.
It's a nostalgia answer. It's not a play. I have my. Is this video or just?
Yeah, it's video. Yep.
No, yep. When it airs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I love being in my home office. So this is less than one of probably 15 objects I have.
Oh, wow.
From my childhood. Notice the hand painted by probably 5-year-old Brian impulse engine.
Yeah.
Notice the hand painted deflector dish.
I had that.
Love it.
I believe I had that.
Way too young to have had this, but maybe you did. But this is from 78 or 79. Let me see.
I am not too young.
We're looking at an Enterprise. What's the exact name of that? Do we know?
It's a Constitution class refit Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in 73.
We are audio also, so I want to make sure our audio.
God bless you, dude.
Members
You're
get
older
it.
Than me. This is. I believe it's Ertl. It doesn't say, but 79. So this also, I just noticed hand painted running lights on the nacelle. I didn't realize I was this specific.
You were in it.
Painter.
You were in it.
There's the Star Trek answer.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
One of my favorites, the Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dude, I really wasn't into it too much when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My favorite turtle was Donatello. So if I had to guess, my answer would be Donatello. I do have one of my the only turtle thing I have, and it's left over. It is one of my childhood toys. I have my Raphael, and I got Peter Laird to sign it after we interviewed him for
fantastic
5.5 hours. So I have that right over there, signed by Peter.
All right, we got 3, maybe 4 more. Ready? We're gonna go Thundercats.
Wasn't into it.
Okay, we'll skip it. It's okay.
Thundercats in here, except one of the execs who covered toys that made us. His name is Nat. He was not a big toy person, to put it mildly. He had 2 toys, one of which was Snarf, and he gave me his Snarf. So I do have Snarf over there. I take it back. But I was not into Thundercats.
Okay. What about He-Man?
I was not into He-Man either. I always like to go out. I'm always told how great I am. So I always go out of my way to make sure people, especially during interviews, hear how stupid I really am, or at the very least, I'm like everybody else. I had to be massively convinced by the staff on season 1 to do He-Man. I didn't want to do He-Man. I wanted to do Turtles or Power Rangers.
Sure.
They convinced me to do it. The week before the series premiered, season 1, I bought my first He-Man figure ever, which to this moment is my favorite He-Man figure, which is Skunkor.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. All right. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to let you fill in the blank on your own. We're going to do the final one from us is G.I. Joe.
Thank God, yes. This is the one I've been like, please ask. Please ask.
I might know what I'm doing, saving it for last. Go ahead.
Cobra hydrofoil, Cobra hydrofoil, Cobra hydrofoil. I'm not going to be a baby and like, if I was able to do a jump ball, it's really hard to choose between the hydrofoil and the GI
And the
Joe,
hovercraft.
the hovercraft.
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, they're kind of tied with the Millennium Falcon for my favorite toy of all time.
I still have mine, both of them.
Yeah. By the way, I got about 5 months ago a flag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's when your friends start asking you, do you have a problem?
yeah.
And by the way, I was like, you know what? I might have.
All
have.
right, fill in the blank.
Right at
Did we lose? Was there any that we didn't? I didn't ask you that you would love to just give recognition to.
I'm very proud. I don't know how much you know about Barbie, but basically almost every toy ever has a Gen 1.
Okay.
Every now and then there's like a Gen 1A and a Gen 1B. Like Luke has a Gen 1A and a Gen 1B because
Sure.
of the hair color. And
Yeah.
there's also issues with the lightsaber, telescoping or not. Barbie has a Gen 1A, B, C, D, and E. I have a Gen 1B.
Okay.
The difference is the first one ever, not even the A, was like all like hand painted and stuff. Like, and then as it became a hit, they were refining the process. So and by the way, I mean like a Gen 1E, $50.
Yeah.
A Gen 1, like a Gen 1, $400,000 or $500,000.
Wow.
So like they all look the same to the naked eye.
Yeah.
And then making season 1 and 2, I became obsessed with Gudetama. I have I don't know if you know who that is.
I know. No, I don't.
That's the
Even Hassan doesn't. He's shaking his head right now. That's a tough one.
Technically, it's the Hello Kitty line, but it's really the Sanrio line.
Okay.
Most people don't understand, and what I consider to be one of the strangest things in the history of the toy business, the Sanrio characters don't interact with each other. I guess they hate making money, which is weird because they're obsessed with making money and they make a lot of money. You wouldn't even believe how much they make. But like Gudetama, he's just a lazy egg. He's this yellow creature, always with yolk. And he's just, I have an entire shelf dedicated. He's only about 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I have an entire shelf dedicated to Gudetama.
Wow. Well, Brian, it is a pleasure as always to welcome you on. This is the first time you're on the Rogue Wave podcast, which is fantastic. So it was great to have you.
Guys.
And we love having you on. So we'll definitely we'll ping you back very soon. Thank you so much.
Take that for granted. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Coming up next, more Rogue Wave podcast. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I want to thank Brian Volk-Weiss for joining us for the expletive-filled interview, which was good though. To be fair, we gave him the green light, and he took it. But that was an awesome conversation, though. That was one of the best interviews we've done in a long time.
Except for when the studio fell apart behind me.
Yeah.
There's that.
I'm telling you, no one knows that. No one knows that. No one knows that. You're a little head in the box.
So that and the fact that he's indeed younger than I am.
That was inside baseball stuff right there. No one.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no one would have known. Everyone would have seen it. It would have been fine. No. And I get a little text from you. No, don't worry. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
you're fine.
You've been good.
Don't freak out. You're fine.
We do this every week. We give Hassan Godwin the keys to the kingdom for his own segment. We like to call this, and again, doesn't have to be angry. Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage.
I am angry though. I'm an angry person. No, okay, not really that angry, but it is just been announced that the Highlander reboot has found its Highlander.
Ooh.
And that
sounds
is
exciting. This sounds like something you'd like.
Henry Cavill. I don't know if you've heard this or not.
Ooh, I have not.
Yes, Henry Cavill is going to be the new Highlander. I don't know if that's going to if it's going to be a direct reboot to the point where he's going to actually play Connor McLeod, the new Connor McLeod, or if he's just going to be from the Scottish Highlands, or if the people making the Highlander reboot don't even understand what Highlander means and they're just going to call him Highlander even though he's from Brooklyn. Who knows? Anything could happen, right? But we're at the mercy of the new minds that are putting these things together.
Sure.
That's not the nature of my problem. This is not really a problem. This is a peeve. This is the kind of thing that I'm having trouble with. Okay. You know Henry Cavill.
Yes.
You've seen Henry
Not personally,
Cavill.
but seems like a very nice guy.
You don't know him personally, but you've seen him. You know who he is, right? If I mention his name, you have a visual in your head. You have a picture, an image in your head. Right? He just dazzled us year before last with The Witcher, right?
Yep.
He was Superman in the Snyderverse and the DCU basically for a while, and now it seems like he's out, but he might be back in, but he's out, but he might be back in. He was a credible, spoiler alert for this movie, for Mission Impossible. He was a very credible ally to Tom Cruise.
Excellent in that film.
And then turned into a villain, right? Okay, spoiler alert for that film. But here's the problem with Henry Cavill. I'm never worried about freaking Henry Cavill. So you're going to put him in a movie. Well-being? I'm never worried for his well-being. I was not worried for him in The Witcher. You know why? Because he's 7 feet taller than everybody in the goddamn show, right? So every time he comes up against some local from Czechoslovakia or wherever they're filming these things, and the guy, the local is 5 feet tall, and Henry Cavill's 2 feet taller than them and broad, and built like a brick house, and he's got a broadsword and he cuts them in half. You're like, yeah, well, that's what would happen, That's not. So I'm never worried about. No, like, okay.
So wait, let me ask you a question though.
Christopher Lambert was a normal size.
Let me ask you a question though. You're like the Highlander. The whole thing is that he lives forever, or he lives for a really long time. Yeah, he's immortal, right? So he lives forever. So why does it matter then that it's Henry Cavill?
Because the thing is that yes, the premise is that he lives forever and that he's immortal, but that there's a bigger immortal who's coming to kill him.
Okay.
To which I had an argument with my mother years and years ago, where she said, "Well, then they're not really immortal."
I agree with that 100%, actually.
And I'm like, "Yes, he is. He is immortal." And she's like, "No, but if you can be killed, you're not immortal."
That's my whole argument with how does Odin die? If he's a god, if he's like a god, how do gods die?
Yeah, but
so God is really not a.
But you got to get over. Like you got to do what I told my mom. You just got to get past it. It's just a use of a word.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Right, that's my point, though. Right,
in a literal sense.
Exactly right. Like they are literally not gods in the sense that they create heaven and earth. They are gods in the sense that they're just better than us. But
in comparison to actual normal people, we can't wield 300-ton hammers and fire lightning out of our eyes.
Yes,
no,
I agree.
Doesn't work that way. Right. All right, so settle down, Mike. I mean, come on.
This is Mike Dolce's road rage.
Don't wreck the franchise with your, you're being too literal. You're over need for being literal. But here's the thing: who are they going to put up against Henry Cavill? You're going to look at that. You're going to be like, who's going to fight this guy? And I'm going to be worried about him.
Dave Bautista.
No, I'm sorry. I think Henry Cavill. I think that would be a fight to watch, but I think Henry Cavill could take Dave Bautista.
You think
I think so? Yes, I think so.
He's too pretty. Dave Bautista, that guy can get into the weeds a little bit.
It's not about looks. The guy is regardless of how big he really is. Because Schwarzenegger wasn't that tall, but he sold.
How tall is Henry?
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I am, but I'm also he's only 6'1".
I'm trying to tell you it doesn't matter.
I can tell you exactly who's going to come after him. Go ahead.
I'm trying to tell you it doesn't matter. It's how he sells it. He sells larger than life better than anybody else. The only person who sells larger than life better than Henry Cavill is The Rock. The Rock sells larger than life, rather almost ridiculously.
The Rock could take on Henry Cavill. and win.
Probably The Rock could take on Henry. I don't know if The Rock would want to be Kurgan or some other bad guy from the Highlander franchise. But my point is, they keep trying to turn Henry Cavill into this kind of everyman, standard action hero.
Sure.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work in this day and age. It would work in the 80s where body performance and and chiseled physique was a sign of excellence, even over brain power.
Okay.
And we did see that. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger are two really smart guys. They're really intelligent businessmen, but they acted stupid. Most of their main characters were not bright. Douglas Quaid and Marion Cobretti weren't exactly who you would consider to be Rogue Scholar material.
I heard smart.
So,
no.
So I don't know. They keep pushing Henry Cavill on us. Henry Cavill is a perfect Superman. Henry Cavill, I don't know if he's going to be the perfect Highlander. I don't know if I'm going to watch him and be worried that some other immortal is going to come along and eventually take this guy's head. I'm going to watch Henry Cavill and think, this guy's going to win.
Let me say right now,
a winner.
It seems as if your problem is not with Henry Cavill, the persona of Henry Cavill,
not at all.
The actual height and the actual physical traits of Henry Cavill. I think your problem is that you've seen him in too many other things now.
My problem is he can't sell scared. He's got this grin on his face in everything he does that's why he worked as Superman, because he's like, man, like they got a sequence in him in Batman vs Superman of him literally dragging a cruise liner, right? And he's still got that stupid smile on his face, like, yeah, this is Tuesday. Sometimes when you're Superman, you gotta drag a cruise liner. That's what you gotta do sometimes. It's okay.
And the Highlander, he has to be afraid. That's like a component of the show.
Look, he's gonna have to be worried for his life. He's gonna have to sell the drama to us that he could be killed, right? Yeah. The whole idea of getting someone who doesn't die is that he's got to be able to sell to us. No, tomorrow I could actually die. That could happen. That's a definite possibility that's gonna happen, and he's not gonna be able to do it. I was never worried for him once in the entire series of Witcher. Like, this guy's gonna kill you all. You get any guy jumped out in the middle of the road to kill, like, oh, taste it, Richard, and he's gonna be like, come on, dude. Honestly, let me walk my horse past you, and I'll let you live. That was Henry Cavill for the entire series. Leave me alone. I'll let you live. And of course, nobody did. He was like Zatoichi. It was like Zatoichi's basically all he wants to do is come into town and have some sake, and everyone's like, he's blind. Let's kick him, And then they get murdered, and that's what happens. That's just what happens. Now, the thing is about Zatoichi is he looks like a guy you'd pick on, and then he kills you.
Oh, I got you.
That's your fault. But Henry Cavill's like, nah, don't mess with that guy. He walks into a tavern. You're going to be like, let's go throw rocks at that guy. No, you're not. You're not going to do that. You're going to be like, let's give this guy anything he wants until he goes away.
Christopher Reeve is a taller Superman and a bigger man, and they did a decent job getting Clark Kenting him up.
Honestly, in 1970, whenever, would you have messed with Christopher Reeve? Would you have, if you've seen Christopher Reeve in a coffee shop and be like, you suck, Christopher Reeve, and throw coffee at him? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Because you'd think he would pick you up and throw you out a window. And you'd deserve it. You'd have it coming. And that's my rage. Stop trying to sell Henry Cavill as an everyman. Stop it. Stop it. Put him back in a Superman suit. Let him be larger than life, because he does that to a T. He does that without even trying. He's perfect that way. I totally buy him being the Man of Steel. I buy him dragging cruise liners by the anchor. I get it. I buy that. I buy him being, saving oil workers and being set on fire and running around with that stupid smile on his face. I totally buy it. I do not buy him as Sherlock Holmes. I'm sorry. I don't buy. It's like, oh my God.
Can't disagree.
This guy is that big and he's a genius. Stop it. Everybody's doomed. Disagree. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
This has been Hassan Godwin's Rogue Rage, and this has been the Rogue Wave Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Next week, I love that I just keep teasing the same thing the last 4 weeks.
Keep doing it.
But I think we're going to actually do it next week because we don't have any guests scheduled between now and then next week.
That's a good reason.
We are going to look ahead. We've got Loki coming out, but we're going to look ahead to the summer movie schedule.
When we look ahead, to be honest with you. I don't like looking ahead. I like looking behind us. Not a big fan of looking ahead.
Well, we're gonna look ahead. We're gonna fire up the gas meter.
Hurts to look ahead.
We're gonna look at all the movies coming out, all the new stuff hitting, all the TV shows hitting over the summer. That includes Loki. That includes Black Widow. We'll even kind of include Shang-Chi because it's not quite the end.
You're
of
down on it, man. I think that's gonna be the breakout movie for you. Because every movie that you denigrate turns into a monster.
That's given, but it's got to be genuine. Here's the funny thing: I'm not down on it. I think it's going to be pretty cool, but I feel it's going to be
every now and then. Every time you talk about it, you kind of jab it a little. So I think that's going to be.
I do because I feel like it's just going to be one of those movies that you walk out of and you go, that was really fun, and then don't think about it again for the next 3 years until the sequel comes out.
That's going to be your movie. I've decided that's going to be.
We will give our predictions sure to go wrong. We will see everybody next week.
Rogue Wave.